If you want to significantly improve your productivity and your efficiency, then you need to be time boxing. Time boxing, or time blocking as it's often called, was identified by Harvard Business Review as the #1 way of improving productivity. Productivity also obviously has direct links with your efficiency. For example, if it takes you an hour to complete a task, and it takes me half an hour to complete the same task, then I can produce twice as much as you and I'm more efficient than you are. That's one of the benefits of time boxing. If you're not familiar with time boxing, here it is. Time boxing is where you identify a task or an action that needs to be done. You calculate roughly how long you're going to need to do it. And then the third step, the most important step, is that you put it into your calendar. So just to revoice that, you've now identified a task, how long it's going to take, and then more importantly, you've put it into your calendar. Now, by doing so, you're effectively creating a to-do list, but it's a to-do list with impact. By that I mean, I've created to-do lists in the past, and for some reason, every time I have something that's important, that's related to me, i.e. it might be self-care, I deprioritize that. It eventually stays on my to-do list forever, or it just gets bumped off the bottom. Time boxing doesn't allow that to happen anywhere near as much. It doesn't allow it to happen because it's got a space carved out on my diary, in my calendar. Cool. So what does time boxing look like in action? Okay, let's say there's an important email that I need to send. If I don't time box it, then I'm likely to think about sending this email at 8 a.m., 9:15, 10 o'clock, maybe again at 3 p.m., 5:06, and then maybe 2 minutes before I go to sleep. When I wake up the next morning, because I haven't time boxed and because I haven't set aside a time to do that email, I just rinse and repeat. I might think about it at 7:30 a.m., again at 10, again at lunchtime, maybe at dinner, and then again just before I go to bed. The act of doing that is often called ruminating. Ruminating is when you have a negative association or negative feeling towards something and you're thinking about it. You can keep thinking about it, but because I haven't put it in my calendar, I don't actually have any opportunity to say, I don't need to think about that anymore because I've time boxed it. When I time box it, let's say I time box it for Thursday between 1 and 1:30 in the afternoon, then anytime I start to think about that task and sending that email, and anytime I have negative thoughts towards that email, I can instantly catch myself and say, hang on a minute, I don't need to worry about that right now because I've time boxed it for Thursday from 1 to 1:30. All of those times that I would have thought about it over those 2 days, I no longer need to worry about because once again, I can just reinforce in my mind and say to myself, it's okay, Eddie, I've already time boxed for when I'm going to focus on that. Now, in terms of freeing up headspace, especially negative thoughts and getting rid of those, time boxing is an extremely powerful way of doing that. So if you're looking at a way to increase productivity and build up your mental health, then time boxing is definitely for you. Another benefit out of time boxing is one that a lot of people really struggle with, and that is to be present. We're constantly being told about the importance of being present, but we don't really have a lot of examples of when and how you can do it effectively. Time boxing is a way that you can do that. Here's the example. Going back to that email, let's say I get to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If anything comes into my mind that I might want to do, I can just remind myself that no, this is the only thing I'm meant to be focusing on right now. Nothing else is as important as this action, which I've time boxed and I've allocated time in my calendar to focus on. That is a really useful way to remind myself of being present. I'm going to be present in that one task. As you become more familiar with time boxing and you use it more frequently, then you'll find that anytime you have those distractions, those thoughts come in about needing to be somewhere else, doing something else, then you can instantly time box that as well and get ahead of the curve. It will allow you to stay focused on the action that you've got and to get rid of all the negative thoughts that you might have towards future actions because you time box those as well. It really is something that can layer up and builds up quite quickly, and the benefits of it come each time you time box. The third reason I like time boxing so much, and I coach time boxing with a lot of managers, is because it's a really useful tool for people pleasers. Now, by people pleasers, you might want to use the phrase those who like to avoid conflict or are not adversarial by nature. If that applies to you or someone that you know, then time boxing is going to be an absolute gem. Here's how it works in practice. Let's say somebody comes up to me and says, Eddie, I need your help with this thing at 1 o'clock on Thursday. Now, people pleaser Eddie could say, yep, I'm right there, I'll do the thing, as soon as you need me, I'm all yours. The amount of pressure and stress that places on me is unnecessary. To be fair, the person might not even be asking me to solve what it is they're working on. They could be simply looking for advice at that time. However, by instantly saying yes, I've inherited and taken on board their problems. As a people pleaser, that can create a lot of mental health challenges. You're going to have less time to focus on the things that you are meant to be focusing on. You're going to have cluttered headspace as you try to solve two problems at the same time. And none of that's going to be to your benefit. Worse, you'll end up doing either of those poorly, or not well, or not at all. So, time boxing. When you do time box, it's going to give you this phrase, which you can change to suit. Let's say the person comes to my desk and they say, Eddie, can you help me at 1 o'clock on Thursday? When I've time boxed that activity, the email, I would say, thanks, but I can't help you at that time because I already have a prior commitment. Thanks, I'd love to help you at that time, but I already have a prior commitment. Now, that one phrase can reduce your workload exponentially. So I would strongly encourage you to use that or a variation of it that you feel comfortable with. As a people pleaser in a previous life, I can tell you how effective that is at not taking on board other people's problems. And look, if you still find that you want to actually contribute towards the solution or you want to be part of that conversation, then you can still regain control by saying, I have a prior commitment that at that time. However, I have time, insert the time that you'd like to give them, where I might be able to help you. That's created another win-win opportunity where you've maintained the space that you need to address the email at Thursday 1 to 1:30, and also you've given them another time that suits you, that's more appropriate. And even if they can't take you up on that offer, they've recognized that you've given them an opportunity to work with them. So you could sprinkle benefits right throughout the use of that tool. The time boxing technique is probably one of the top 3 techniques that I utilize in my day-to-day life, and it's certainly one of the top 3 that I employ as a coach. If you're looking at achieving more, if you're looking at doing that faster, if you're looking at reducing stress in your life, then time boxing is going to be an essential tool in your toolbox. And I would strongly encourage you to start using it today.